Hey guys, welcome to my channel. In this video, we're going to talk about the inspection period. If you're looking to buy a house, and even if you're trying to sell a house, it's always good to understand what the inspection period means. It's really the most important part of the real estate deal. Whether you're looking to buy or you're looking to sell your home, this is the period where things could get a little stressful and a little tricky if everything doesn't go smoothly. So the inspection period is usually a time period that is used for the buyer and the buyer's agent to inspect the home before they buy the home. They have a right to do this because they stated in the contract, in the purchase and sale agreement contract, that they are looking to have at least 5 to 10 days to make sure that everything is functioning well in the house. This could include electrical, plumbing, and any latent issues that's going on in the house that just may not be seen with the naked eye. So they will have professionals come by and go ahead and make sure that the water is running properly, make sure that there's no electrical issues, and just make sure that there's no leakage, roof issues, or anything that could cause the buyer to have to put money into later after buying the house. Now, there's some houses that are sold as is, but even if the house is sold as is, the inspection period is actually like a protective period for the buyer to be able to just check and make sure if this house is worth buying as is. And if it turns out that it's not, then they have the ability to back out of the contract and get their earnest money back. So during this time, if there are any issues going on with the house, the buyer could also ask the seller to repair the issues. So if there's a plumbing issue, they could ask the seller, hey, can you take care of this plumbing issue before I go ahead and purchase this home? The seller has the right to agree or disagree, choose to do it or not do it. Let's say that there's parts of the home that is not up to code, like with the HVAC system or the heating system or something. Then the buyer has a right to ask the seller if they could go ahead and get it back up to code or check it, look into it and find out what they could do to fix the problem. If not, they could also ask for a credit. They could ask for a price reduction on the home. It's whatever the buyer's agent feels is necessary moving forward. If the buyer and the seller do not come to an agreement, then again, the buyer has a right to back out of the contract and keep it moving. So sellers, this is not something that you should take personally. It's normal. There's always going to be something that comes up in an inspection. Usually a lot of stuff, sometimes it's stuff that's just minor and sometimes it's major stuff. So just be prepared mentally to be able to negotiate with the buyer. If you feel that this is a solid deal and you don't want to let it go, ask your agent to help you with what would be the best way to handle the situation. For buyers, you also need to ask the agent which would be the best way to go. Depending on what type of market we're in as well, if it is a buyer's market, then sellers probably would want to try to either offer up some type of credit or help with repairs. If it's a seller's market and there's a lot of offers on the table, then buyers may want to be a little careful with how many things that they ask the seller to repair or how much credit they ask for. But you just got to be careful with how you go about negotiating depending on what type of market we're in. At the end of the day, it all boils down to time during the inspection period. Buyers, you need to make sure that you don't schedule your inspections in the last minute. You have between 5 to 10 days, depending on what you put under contract on your agreement. Make sure you immediately, as soon as that due diligence period starts, make sure you're immediately trying to get out professionals to check whatever you need checked in the home. Sellers, you also need to respond as quickly as possible when a buyer comes along and says, hey, can you take care of this, or can you provide this credit, or whatever the case. You don't want the buyer to feel like you're trying to waste time and then they decide to just back out of the deal, especially if it's a good deal. So some of the deal breakers during an inspection period would be foundation issues, roof damage, which would cause leaking through the ceiling. You usually see like brown spots on the ceiling, which means there are leaking issues coming from the roof. Mold and water issues, and electrical and safety hazard issues. One inspection that I did had a gas leak, so that was definitely a serious thing and something that needed to be checked right away. During an inspection period, buyers, you should attend the inspection, whatever inspection that you have scheduled, whether it's an electrician that's coming out or a plumber that's coming out, whatever you got scheduled, you should go ahead and check out what's being done. And also be mindful of what is serious and what really isn't. It's not everything that is reported that is really worth trying to negotiate. And then for sellers, how about you get a pre-listing inspection so that you're on top of your game, so that when a buyer comes along and does their due diligence, you already know what's going on in the house. Or you could disclose that information to the buyer when you list your home. At the end of the day, The inspection period is about transparency, and it's about protecting not only yourself as a seller, but also protecting the buyer as well. You just want to make sure you're making a smart decision. Sellers, you don't want to put your house on the market and know that there's a bunch of issues that's really not going to get the house sold. And then buyers, you don't want to go ahead and purchase a home that you're going to have to end up spending a whole lot of money in a few months. So it's really just for you to protect yourselves. So I hope this video was informative about the inspection period and that it answered some of your questions. If you need help with anything in the future, I'm a Georgia real estate agent. Feel free to reach out to me. Subscribe to my channel for more informational videos just like this. See you in the next video.